I'm excited to be here. My name is Michael Ghobrial. Everybody calls me Gobi. It's been a nickname of mine. Actually inherited from my brother. But excited to be here. Excited to get to know each and every one of you guys. Looking forward to, obviously our times together. So with that, I'll take questions.
What does getting a chance like this mean for you to come in here to the new thing and work with Mike, and just your overall thoughts of coming here?
Yeah, just a lot of excitement. I'm a West Coast kid. I grew up in California. To get an opportunity to see some sunlight, for the first time in a while. I was joking around with Mike, actually. I hadn't seen the sun in 60 days when I was in New York. So just stepping off that plane and then, just being able to walk into work and, truly enjoy the people that you're around. Mike, I have tremendous respect for Mike. The energy he brings, his intelligence, and, to be able to work with him specifically is exciting. I'm excited to work with Monty as well. Tremendous respect for what he's done in his career, and really appreciative of Michael for this opportunity. So really excited to get to know the players. It's just, this really feels like an infectious fan base that wants to win, and we're going to exhaust every resource to be able to do that.
I know it's early and you guys are all trying to get your feet underneath you, but your group in particular, the specialists, a bunch of free agents, so there could be a blank slate there. Like, how do you approach that differently than maybe if everybody was already under contract, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think every year, regardless, in the National Football League is singular. So every year you go back to the drawing board in terms of evaluation, which is the process that we're in right now. So, one of the first things you do, whether you're in a new building or whether you're coming back for another year at another place, the first thing you do is you evaluate what's on your roster, what do you have, then you start to look at across the league what's out there as well. And that process does take a lot of time, but it's an important one because you want to make sure that you have the right people in the building, and that's where we're at right now with that. So,
being a California guy, have you spent much time in Arizona?
I have. I have some friends out here. And there's this kicking camp that is out here as well. So getting an opportunity to come out here, like I said, the weather is one of one. And I know people will talk about how hot it gets in the summer, but when you're leaving a place that was minus 15 degrees, you're appreciative of the fact that there is warmth. And if I need to get my coolness in an air-conditioned place, then I'll do that. But Arizona, just in general, it seems like a really cool place to live. There's obviously a lot of good food spots out here, which I'm a foodie. I've really appreciated the people out here as well. So excited to really be living out here.
Have you found a restaurant yet that you like?
Well, just being a West Coast kid, In-N-Out has been a favorite of mine. So that's something I haven't been able to get on the East Coast. And what's funny is, like, on away games, you have a little bit of time to be able to go get dinner. And whenever there was a place that had In-N-Out, that happened to be one of my spots. I enjoy good meals as well. I'm not just like a fast food junkie, but when you don't get In-N-Out, that's something that I'm obviously excited to be around. So,
Coach, what has the past month been like for you with everything in New York to now gain this opportunity?
Yeah, obviously. I feel like I was born to coach football, and there's obviously uncertainty when things happen, obviously with what they did with New York, but you also look forward to what the next opportunity is. You put faith in the fact that you did a good job at the last place you've been in, and you control what you control, and then good things will happen. So I've been really eager and excited to get going. That's something that I've been ready from the end of the season to go coach another season. And I'm excited to be part of that, be part of the process it takes to win football games. So,
Does your job change much moving from basically an outdoor situation to basically an indoor situation?
It does. It certainly does. Being in MetLife Stadium isn't the easiest place to perform from a returner perspective, from a specialist perspective. There's certain things that arise when you're in weathered games. That process of learning that, over my 5 years living in New York between the Jets and the Giants is invaluable because you will play on the road. You will play in those games, especially in those later months, which I know we want to play in. So it's good experience to have, but as you start to move to an opportunity to kick in good weather, indoors. There's not as many external factors that affect the ball. Now, there's other things that arise with that because you could have a little bit more variety with what you do. The creativity certainly goes up because the wind isn't pushing a certain direction. So it does change a little bit, but I'm excited for the fact that there won't be gale force winds in our stadium. So, yeah.
What do you think of the staff so far, Mike, in terms of what Mike's bringing together?
Yeah, you see a genuine appreciation for the game, a genuine appreciation for people. It's really cool to just be able to walk in somebody's office and then be so personable, and to hear their story, how they got here. And then just, in that time, you also hear their coaching philosophy when just talking about life, talking about ball. So it's been really cool. I really feel Mike has assembled, a great staff in which guys are really excited about what they do. There is a genuine appreciation for just showing up to work with enthusiasm, and truly putting our best foot forward and getting better.
How do you gravitate toward coaching special teams? It's just such a unique role on the coaching staff.
Well, I've always felt that special teams is the purest form of football. In a special teams, whatever unit you're coaching, you're doing things that you do on offense and defense, and that's part of my job, is to create some similarities to some players that may not have experience doing it, especially when you're talking about the transition from college to professional. It's block destruction, it's blockability, it's speed of the ball, it's tackling, it's ball security. All those things show up on offense, all those things show up defensively, and like I said, it's the purest form of football. So to be able to articulate that to the players, to be able to tell them that, well, this is what you do defensively as your primary job. This is how we're going to feature this, and this is how you're going to have success doing it. That to me is one of the coolest moments to be part of, because you're giving a player a vision, but then also showing belief in their skill set, which is why they're in the National Football League, and then being able to have success from there on is pretty cool to be part of. So I enjoy that aspect of it. I also enjoy the ability to motivate players. I think that is, you talk about why I coach. One is skill development, like I just spoke of. The second is the ability to motivate, because you're dealing with a bunch of varied backgrounds and you're getting a lot of people to believe in a common belief. I think that's big, and that's something you approach every day. And the third thing is, I think coaching is synonymous with teaching. And, my dad was a teacher, and that's something that, I truly value is educational growth, especially in this game. Finding different ways to reach players, to relay information. I think those three things are really allow me to coach special teams.
How'd the connection with Mike begin, and what was it like getting the call to come out here?
Yeah, so, I had coached with Mike with the Jets, and, he was the offense coordinator. I was a special teams assistant at the time. And, we obviously, shared stories, talked about ball, being in the same building, and it was really cool to get to know him there. And, just even being a part, when, we kind of broke off, I went to the Giants, he went to the Rams. You still see people at the combine at different venues, and you get an opportunity to talk ball again. So I've always had tremendous respect for Mike. I think, I always felt that Mike had the ability to be an elite football coach, elite head football coach, because he understands global game planning, how you unify offense, defense, and special teams. And I didn't feel like he was just an offensive coach. I'm like, this is a football coach. So that respect has, I've always wanted to stay in touch with him and kind of follow his career, and he's obviously done a hell of a job, and I'm excited to work with him. Getting the opportunity to coach with him again, that obviously resulted in just being in a position that I was free to go look. So, getting a chance to truly explore other opportunities, like when Mike was when he got this job and wanted to talk, it was really cool to be in that moment.
What was it like being part of that tree now with Robert and now Mike and kind of that all the family stuff going, what's that like?
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between a lot of those coaches. I have tremendous respect for Coach Sala, who afforded me my first opportunity in the National Football League. And, without that opportunity, I don't necessarily develop a good relationship with Mike and truly get to understand, what he's about. So, I'm forever indebted to a lot of guys that have given me an opportunity. Brant Boyer, who's in this division, who I was his assistant with the Jets. Like, I've learned so much from all the people that I've been around in this building now, and then people I've obviously experienced with in the past few spots. So I think that ultimately makes you the football coach that you are, is those relationships with people, even with players. Every player goes to different spots, but it's really cool to see them pregame, and they're part of your journey. That's what's awesome about this profession. It's a people-based business, and I'm not naive to the fact that those people are part of the reason why I'm here.
Have you had much of a chance to look for a place to live yet?
It's been a little difficult, but there's certainly some pockets. Like I said, it's not like you're going to a desolate place. This is everything that you want is out here, including the sunlight. I'm not going to shortchange that. So it's cool to be able to just drive around and figure out areas on the weekends. But certainly, I'm still in the process of that.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Looking forward to get to know you guys. Thank you.